So what we're gonna create today is a lyrics machine, or karaoke lyrics machine, or whatever, something like that. So basically we have a song, so we added a song here. So we add the name of the song, the length, and the artist, and then you can edit that song and add lyrics to it, although it seems not to be working. Right, so we edited in the song, so we can add our lyric, and we can delete or edit it. You'll see it show up here, and basically this is the entire song, right, with all the lyrics. And then you can go and play song. My wait, I have so many errors. Let's go back here, play song, and you can see it says start. So it can't tell me nothing. It gives you the artist and the amount of time, and then you press start and you can go through the song, so you could sing along as the case may be, and you have your track, your lyrics showing up. All you have to do is press next, and you can go back on forward as the case may be. Once the song is finished, you would see all done, and you could find another song. So that's what we're gonna build. So we already have we created our file. Well, we created our project, call it lyrics machine. We created a new file called songs.php, and we are just gonna add the interface to create the songs, or add the songs, new songs. Right, so again, this is going to be really simple. We just have a form, method is post, and we have song name, and put the input, input, the length. Alright, so yeah. So once we do this, we can actually see how it looks. Well, one more. I'm just gonna put the submit button here. We call this save song. The type is submit. The name is save song. Alright, so that should be fine. We're gonna do everything one time, so all songs. So we're gonna list our list of songs here. So we just have a list of songs when we are ready, when we finish adding the songs. Again, we're gonna have a main functions file. So we're gonna put our functions in one area. So we're gonna include that across here. And so the first thing, the basic thing we need is our connections. So I am just gonna copy that across. So you know the drill with this one. And right, so the next thing, let's look at the database. So we have the songs database sent to SQL. Let's create. So you can look at that. Remove the auto increment. Basically the table is pretty simple. It just have a name, a length, and an artist, and the ID is auto increment. So this is how we create in our songs table. And once we create that, we can now create a function to save a song in our functions file. So to save a song, we need the name, the length, length, and the artist. And we just need to get our connection, and we have the SQL to insert into songs, and we have the name, the length, length, and the artist. Right, file use 1, 2, 3. Great. So now we're going to query this. We're going to prepare this query, and then we're going to execute this query. passing in the variables to create our table, and then we're going to return the last, so that should save it, and then we're going to return the last ID, right? So the last insert ID in case we need that, right? So that is us creating our songs, inserting our songs. So up here, you know the drill, we're going to check to see if we have a post using, oh, it doesn't have an if. That seems wrong. Alright, so if server request method, and yeah, so let's do that. If server request method is equal to post, and we have whatever we put the form, the button to submit as, it should be save song. So if we have these things, we could proceed. So we need to get the song. So that's the song, otherwise it's null. Then we need to get the length of the song. So we are checking for that. Now, then GTH length of the song. And then we need to get the artist. Finally, well, not finally. So we see if we have these things, if we have all these things, we can proceed. So we can now say this is the ID we're returning, and we're saving the song. The song is really song anyway, right? And we can see don't need this at all, but we are putting it. All right, so we should actually be able to add songs to our database now. So let's try that. My first song, singer, the length is 3 minutes, and we save the song. So let's see if that shows up in our database, and it doesn't show up in our database. So let's just see what's going on here. Let's try the SQL. Insert into songs. Insert into songs. Yeah, so everything seems good here. The only thing we're not adding is we didn't put the names. So we have name is song, name is artist, name is length, LENGTH. I wonder why it's not catching my errors. I'm gonna have to look into that. Anyway, my first song maker tree. So you're gonna save this song save number 3. So we can see that we have the song is uploaded to the database, and now I'm going to delete the other 2. Well, actually we're gonna delete everything. Truncate the table. Alright, so what we want to do is display all the songs. So as we save them, we want to be able to display them. So we are going to work on that now. So we want to get something called get all songs. So function get all songs. Yeah, this is going to be straightforward. Results is equal to array and try catch exception e. Don't use this all the time. Con get connection. Result is equal to con query. Just go to select star from songs. Alright, so that should give us all the songs that we need, and all we need to do now is display this. I'm just gonna display it all in a p graph. Get all songs. Okay, song. Alright, so everything is written on p graph. We're gonna say name is equal to name. Probably can add a break, and we say artist is equal to song artist, and then length. So let's check out for the length. Song LENGTH. Alright, so let's see how that looks. Let's see if we can get out to work. I think we only have one song added so far, unless we did truncate everything and we need to add new songs. So my first song, the song maker, the length is 3. Alright, and of course we need to have our default styling. You know what our default styling is: a border, border radius, 3px, some padding, some margin bottom. That's as much styling as you'll ever get. Alright, let's not reload it. Great. So yeah, so we're gonna do something called add lyrics. So add lyrics, that's what's coming up. Lyrics.php. Alright, so we're gonna add lyrics and maybe the option to delete. Well, you can add that. I'm not adding that. But yeah, so add lyrics, right? So now that we have our songs, we can now add some lyrics to the song. So we have to work on two things, or one thing. We have to work on two things. We have to create the lyrics table, and then we have to create the view for the lyrics and allowing you to add lyrics and edit lyrics and stuff like that. So we're going to get into that right now. And to do that, we are going to say song is equal to, and pass in the ID of the song. Right, so when we see this, we can see that well, you can't see it, but the song URL is, if I was to copy link address and paste, lyrics song equal 1. So the song lyrics database, let's send this to create. So we can look at it here. Removing this, we have an ID, the song ID, the content, and the priority. I don't believe I use the priority, but I'm gonna put it in anyway. So you can create a database using that. You can remove this. So you have create table, song lyrics, ID, song ID, content, priority. Great. And now we need to add something to save the lyric. So we're just going to add that function now. So you have save song. Now we're going to save function save the lyric. And what would do lyric? And what we need for this, we need the song ID, the count, the order, and this is in the future. I'm not using that now. So ID is when you want to edit a lyric as opposed to saving it. So we say con get connection, and then we say SQL is equal to insert into song lyrics song ID content pri priority values. I think that's it. Query is equal to con prepare SQL, query, we're going to execute it now. Execute, pass in the data song ID, which is actually song ID, content, the order, which we're most likely not using, and then we're returning last insert ID. Right, so now we're going to create a file called lyric or lyrics, add lyric or lyrics. What did I name it before? I named it lyrics. So we're going to create a file called lyrics. I think lyrics is better, because we'll have multiple lyrics in it. It doesn't really matter. Anyway, so we created a file called lyrics, and within this file, we need a template. So this file has two sections. The first section allows us to edit and add lyrics, and the second section shows us all the lyrics for a specific song. So basically, for a lyric, what we need, or should I say, what is most important, is the song content. I really don't think I'm going to use order, even though I did that before. So I'm just going to focus. Well, order might come in handy. So, alright, so let's put order, because it actually might come in handy. Alright, so that's the first thing, and then we need the song content. Song content, we're going to break this, and we're going to put a text area. Text area, that's great. And then the name of this is content. The columns is 55. The rows is 12. Alright, so let's just see how this looks. So this is sufficiently good. And what we want next is a submit button that says save lyric or update, as the case may be. The type is going to be submit. The name is going to be save lyric LYRC, and below here we're going to have all the lyrics for a specific song. So the question is, which one we're going to do first? Let's add lyrics to a specific song. So what we're missing is a little header. So let's add a little header that says add song lyrics. See if that makes it look better. Right. So we can add song lyrics. We definitely need to have the current song ID, because we need to know what song the lyric is going to be added to. So we're going to put that in. So we're going to say if I set get song. This is the song ID. I guess we can name it ID. Else we're going to break. We're going to say echo need to know song. We're going to exit, which would end it abruptly. Right, so this way we always have the ID. If you want, we can check to see if it's empty. Or we can make sure it's not empty. Right, so we would always have the song. So we can assume that we'd always get the ID of the song, and if we try to do it here without the ID, we'd say need to know song. So we must pass the song when you're adding your lyrics. And So in our songs, we're gonna target this blank for now, at least, because I don't want to have to be going back and front, right? So so now we know what song we're gonna be adding the lyrics to, and what we could do here is we could put a hidden input of type song, and that's wrong, of type hidden, of name song, of value ID, which is the ID of the song. And this is wrong. I'm doing it in the wrong place. We're doing this in lyrics, right? So what we're gonna do next, did I already show you how to create this? Yes. So in theory, this is already created, and we already have our functions, right, that says save lyric. So let's actually just save the lyric. So we're gonna copy this, and this is where we're gonna save our lyric. Save lyric. So what we need is content. So what we need is, well, we need order and content. So we say order is equal to, and this should be post. Otherwise, no, and content. Great. Fantastic. Right, so we say if we have order and if we have content, we can proceed, right? Next, save lyric. So what we need is the song ID, which is just ID. We need the content, which is the content, and the order. We don't need to pass in that as yet. And that should actually save the lyric. We can get the lyric ID is what returns from that. So in theory this should work, but let's actually see if it's working. So we have our continuous lyrics to there. We're going to truncate this table so it should be empty, and let's see if we can add new lyrics now. Alright, so we have our random Latin, so we're just gonna add that in. We're gonna put a little space in between, and we're gonna say save lyric, and we want to see if this saved. And as you can see, it did not save, so we're doing something wrong. Maybe method post type order. So the name should be order, and we have content. So let's try that again. Save. Alright, so we see if it loaded up. You know, I need to try something, because I actually don't know why it seems to be failing silently. It doesn't always do that. But that's not the reason. Anyway, I'm not sure why it's failing silently, but I don't need to know that to figure out what is wrong, because it's usually something I'm not paying attention to, like spelling error. Save lyric. Save lyric. Content. Alright, I'm not gonna bore you with this. When I figure it out, I'll come back. Well, I think I figured it out. I just wasn't putting out number for order. Undefined function save lyric. On call to undefined function save lyric. Huh. That's weird. I wonder why that's happening. Maybe because I didn't include my functions file. Shocking. Silly rabbit. Alright, let's try that again. Copy this across. Give the order a number. It really should work without the order. Putting anything in order. It should just be like 0. Although That might be the case. I don't like that. We're gonna put order 0 because it should be able to save with just the lyric alone. So in this case, it's still not saving. Alright, so we just need content, right? Let's not get too special. Alright, great. That's fantastic. So our lyrics are being saved, and now we are going to display them, but in order to do that, we need to get a function to display them. And this function is going to be called getAllLyrics. Sure, yeah. Except that is getAllLyrics, except that we want the ID of the song that we're getting it for. So the query is select star from song lyrics, where song ID is equal to that. And since we're playing it safe, we are doing it like this, which is so much longer. So we pair it, and we execute it, passing in the ID, and then we get the results. Fetch all. Yeah. Get all lyrics. And then for each get all lyrics. So ID is, you know, this lyric. ID is the song. Great. And for each, and we just have a big P, and this is gonna say we can just echo the content. And if we wanted to do something special, like edit it or delete it, you could put it below. So let's see how that looks. I think you know we have to style it. And we have to style it the way we know how to style it. And how do we know how to style it? With a border. With a border. Border radius. Some padding, of course. Margin bottom. 3px. So fancy styling right there, man. Great. So we have our lyrics. We can edit and delete them eventually. And yeah, let's add one more. So you can see it added there. Let's add one more. Right? You can see everything, but it's there. Right? Now you can see everything. So we have our lyrics, and what we want to do now is we want to be able to edit a lyric. So once we press the edit button, we should be able to edit it. And then once we press delete, we should also be able to delete a lyric. So let's see how we can get into that now. So edit should be pretty straightforward. What we're going to do for edit is we're going to say, well, it is lyrics.php, and we have the song, which is equal to ID. Can I do that? No. Right? But then you want to say, and the lyric is equal to whatever lyric ID this is, right? Right or wrong? So this is good. So once we load the page, we can see that our URL Let's copy it. It says lyric song is equal to 1 and lyric is equal to 1. So now we need to do something like if we get in lyric and it's not empty, then we do something. Basically what we're going to do is get the lyric, and then we're going to assign the values. So we have lyric ID is usually empty, the order is usually empty, and the content is usually empty. Right, so those are the variables we're going to fill. And what we're going to do also is we're going to put those values there. The values that we assigned earlier, we're going to put it here. So this is order. So those global variables, you're going to use them here. So if we were to assign them further up, they would show up here. We don't have lyric ID, so we need to put lyric ID here. The type is going to be hidden. Again, usually it should be empty. Empty when you're creating, full when you're going to edit. Alright. Next, we need to create a function, and this function is called getLyric. So that's going to give us an individual lyric from the database. So let's look into that. Alright, so let's create this function. Function get lyric. If you want an individual lyric, are you passing in the ID? Yep. That's good. See, as we're gonna do, we're gonna copy and paste this. The query is gonna change a bit. It's gonna say where ID is equal to whatever the ID we're passing in. We're also gonna limit it by 1, and we're gonna get the results. Well, yeah, we're gonna get the results, and then we're gonna say results. If results.0, I think we should put ISS for that. Then results is equal to results.0. Is that ISS? Whatever. Right. So right now we only returning the first result, which is what we want. And then when we do lyrics, we could say lyrics data. I guess that's a variable. Lyrics data get lyric. Lyric ID is equal to get lyric. Yes, lyric ID. And then we could say content is equal to lyrics data and content, and the order is equal to lyrics data order. So we can try that out. So we add in our lyrics, closing the unnecessary stuff. First enter it in 1. Undefined index order. That's fine, because it's not order, it's actually priority. But I think order is like most likely is a reserved value for SQL. So we did not go that way. Anyway, so you can notice I should use actual words so as to make it make sense. But as you can see, we can it's showing up here, right? Which is great. Now let's inspect it a bit, see what's going on in the back of the HTML. What we're looking for is we have some hidden attributes, and we want to make sure when we submit the form they are being passed to. So lyric now has a value. Song had a value before, lyric now has a value. So when we let's just get lyric. So ID is fine because that's global, but now we want to say lyric ID is equal to, and we don't have to do this. Yeah, we don't have to do this. Check it. I mean, it could be wrong, but basically all I need to do is put the lyric ID here. So if it doesn't have a lyric ID, it would be null, right? Or empty. So it won't save. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to say if ID. Otherwise, proceed as usual. Right? Otherwise, proceed as usual. But in this case, what we want to do is we want to update the query. So that SQL is now becomes an update. Update song lyrics. Set content is equal to placeholder, and priority is equal to placeholder, where ID is equal to placeholder. And then we do our query, our connection, prepare the SQL. We pass in the values. Well, it's execute actually. We execute and pass in the values what we want. I can't see because it's blocking me. Move. Right. Content is first, priority is second, and ID is last. Alright, so content is first, priority is second, priority is order, and ID is last. And then we could just return ID, which is the lyric ID. So let's see if we can get that to save. So we're gonna edit the first one, and we're gonna say we just want this to say my first lyric. We're gonna save it. So now that should say my first lyric, and then we're gonna say and much more, and save it. Much more, right? But if we went to the add lyric section and we said my second lyric and we saved it, it should actually go at the bottom because we didn't provide a ID, right? A lyric ID. Of course, we could edit this and say and much more and save, and then we would see those changes. Those changes will be reflected, right? So what we need to do now is we want to be able to clear. So if after we added something, we want to be able to clear it so that we could go back from where we started, which is pretty straightforward. The only thing we need to do is probably we add a button called add new lyric up here under add songs. So we have add songs. I'm just gonna name something called add new lyrics. And what is this gonna do is gonna give us the ability to clear the field. So it's actually pretty simple. That's it. So even if we reloaded the page and we know right now we're editing lyric 1, if you say add new lyrics, we're not editing anything. It becomes clear, and we could add a new lyric or line, chorus, whatever. Great. So the next thing we want to work on is the delete functionality. And so let's get the delete going. So we have the delete button here. So what delete is, basically we're still passing it into lyrics because you're going to take action here. We still need to get the lyric ID. and we need to say action is equal to delete. Is that correct? Yeah. So we need to do two things. We want the ID. So we want the ID of the song. We also pass in the lyric ID. And we say in the action is delete. So what we're going to do here is, this is a post, right? And action is equal to delete. We're going to do something here. So this is where we delete this is where we delete the lyric. But it's important to know that, well, what am I saying? Well, let's create the function to delete it first, right? So the function to delete a lyric, which is what I'm looking for right now while I'm randomly talking, is function delete song lyric. So all we need to do is pass in the ID, and we should be good to go. Connection SQL. They say delete shouldn't be from get. You should try to do it from posts. I'm just letting you know what they say. So this is bad. You shouldn't do it like this. If you want advice, and like if there was an actual system, however you choose to go about it, you would still need to authenticate the user. Make sure the correct user has access to delete the object that you're deleting. So checks and balances will all be in place. But in this example, we're just going to delete it. We're going to use a get request. Delete song lyric is the function. So delete song lyric, we should have lyric ID. We could confirm that we have that. We're doing it above here, which is where we get it from. So, but we're just going to confirm that we have the lyric ID to delete. Once we have the lyric ID to delete, we can now delete the song. And the only other thing we need to do now is we want to redirect the page. So after we delete it, we're going to redirect the page. So we're going to add a new function called function redirect page. And we're just going to pass in what we're going to redirect: header, location, page, exit, right? And the page we're going to redirect is redirect page. We're going to redirect to lyrics.php song, and that's it. Pass in the song ID, which is global, and we should have access to it since we're not within functions. So let's try that out and see. We're going to delete the first lyric. It looks like it's gone. Let's reload the page and see. We're going to delete most of the lyrics. Oh, they're all going now. Alright, so most of our things are getting deleted. You can see when you have two here, and only two showing up, and we delete one, when you have one, when you load the page, when you have one. So the delete is working fantastically. And that means the next section that we're going to work on is to play the song. So we are going to play the song. So let's create a file, a function called play. Play, start. So this is where we're going to start playing the song. So first thing we need is we need to import our functions file. Then we need to add our template, a very simple template, and we're gonna say start playing song. Alright, so we need to get the song data. So I don't know if I have any functions here that allows me to get a single song. which seems weird. Yeah, that's correct. So I don't have any function, so we're going to create one. So this function is going to be called getSong. Yep, just confirming. So function getSong, passing the ID, and it's just as what you think it is. It's just like getLyric, except this time the query is different. It's just songs. Alright, so that should do it. Let's see if we can actually get it here. So in stats, we're just making sure that we have we get the song. So we have to pass in song. So our URL needs to have this attribute called song. And once we have that, we can get the song ID. And once we have the song ID, we can actually get the song. So we can say song data, go to get song. And now let's fill it out. So start song, and we have a little link here that says back to song. So this is taking us back to where all the songs are. And we're gonna have a big paragraph. We're gonna align it center. That's not how you do that. Text align. We want to make this font really big, so we're gonna put it up to 55. And within that, we're gonna put out everything. So in our song data, we should have. If we don't have song, we should actually close this page, right? If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's basically no song found. So that means we must have song data, otherwise the page won't go ahead. So let's see how we do in here. Start. So in songs, we have add lyrics, and now we could play. We can add something called play, and it's going to take us to start.php. So that's great. So all our new songs, we have one called play. Maybe we can add more space in between it. So now we can play a song, and it says my first song. So that's how start looks. So let's finish it off. We have the song title. We need the artist, just as how we had it in the example. At the beginning of this video, we're gonna display the artist, and then we're gonna display the minutes, or how long, the length of the song. So I have min here, I guess. GTH, we assume it's minutes. Yeah, and then finally, we're gonna actually play the song. href play song. That's wrong. Song, and then we pass in the ID. We press start. Right, so we almost, could we say we halfway there? Oh, so let's reload the page, see what we got. 3 minutes, start. So this is good. And what we need now is our play.php. So we're going to create that. Play.php. We include our function file, we add the template. This is great. Include our functions. Right. So how does play work? I can't remember. So let's just add in some little style and sing along. And we're going to say the heading is going to be song data. So we're going to get the song again in Playwright. The heading is going to be the name of the song. Of course, we're not getting it as yet, but we're going to do the same thing as start. Alright, so we can just copy them across. So we have song data, so we know we have all the information for the song. And now we need to do what? We need to add a form. No, we don't need to add a form. We need to add the lyrics echo NL2BR. You know what this does? Do you know what this does? Where lyrics has come from? We don't know. Let's find out where we get lyrics from. So once we get data, we now need to get the lyric. So how are we going to get the lyric? We need to find out what the current ID is, and then we have to say lyric is equal to get next lyric. Alright, so I'm jumping ahead. So we're doing a few things here, right? So basically, you already know how to get song data, and now we need to get the lyric, but we need to get the first lyric as ordered by either priority or the song ID. For now, we're going to do it by song ID. So we need to create a function called get next lyric, or get lyric. Let's just create a function called get lyric. But what we're going to be passing in is the get next lyric. What we're going to be passing in is the current or the next ID or something like that. Well, I'll just show you so you understand better. Yes, I might be confusing myself. So here's what we're going to do, right? We're going to do two things. We're going to create two functions. One is going to call a function get next URL. So I did this before, but when I do it a second time, I tend to find better ways of doing it. And then we're going to create a next function called get previous URL. Right? So those two URLs are going to define how we go forward and go backward with our lyrics. And within those two functions, we could add any necessary logic. So to get the next lyric, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do this. Well, let's think of it. We need to get the connection. So get connection. And then we need to get the query. Con. So this is next URL, right? Select star from song lyrics where song ID is equal to and ID is greater than order by priority descending limit 1. And if I was to explain this, I'm basically just getting, we want the song lyric where the ID is greater than whatever value we pass as current, and we order it by priority descending limit 1. Anyway, moving ahead. So once we do that, we could execute it. We could pass in this current value. Hold on. I think I could do stripping this. Song ID, right? So the song and the current ID. Great. That is actually fine. And we get the results, which is equal to query fetch all. and all we want is the first result. So we say if, well, let's count it, first greater than 0, we're going to return next ID is equal to 0. Here we're going to say next ID is equal to results ID. That's wrong. Result 0. Okay. Great. And then, as if by magic, we are now going to return the URL, and the URL is going to be play.php song. We know the song that we get in it, and then we're going to add the current value of the something like that. So the next ID is going to be current. So this is basically this. So any ID that is greater than this would be fine. So it should be 0 to start off with, and then it would increment as the case may be. So play song, we pass in the song, and then current. Great. So we're going to use this in two places. You might get it wrong because, as I said, I haven't done it like this before. So we're going to use it here first to get the URL for play. So let's see if we can get this to work. Get next song URL, and all we need to do is pass in the song. I think we probably could just pass in ID. Let's pass in song ID, and we want the current URL to be 0, right? So let's start with that. Let's see what it says. So the next song it's saying is current is 6. It seems to be very wrong. But at least we're getting somewhere. What are we? Yeah, that's correct actually. So the ID, the next song in the lyrics is 6, which is fantastic. So let's add more lyrics to our songs. We're just going to test it out. So you're going to add more lyrics to our songs. You notice that it's not clear after we add, so we're gonna have to fix that. After we add a song, it should refresh the page. We shouldn't have to add any, unless it doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it matters. So we're gonna have to fix that, but that's fine. Well, let's fix that now. So basically, after I add a new song, we want to clear the page. So we go into lyrics, and whenever we add a new song, right, we want to set the lyric ID is equal to be 0, because this is where we add a new song. The content is equal to 0, and the order is equal to 0. Alright, so after we add a song, we don't want the song to still be showing up there. That's disgraceful. No, we just don't want it. Great. And let's try to add another song. I'll just call Lorem Ipsum. Alright, so that's there. Great. So we have a lot of lyrics to work with, and once we could press play now, and the next song starts 6, which is great, which is the first item in the list. So we get in somewhere, and then in play, the only thing we need to do now is get the current lyric. So the function is get current lyric, and we would be passing in current, right? Again, I didn't do this before. This is kind of on the fly. So it might be wrong. Alright, so we pass in get current lyric, and then we need to create this function. We need to get previous URLs, alright? Anyway, get current lyric. And what we passing in? Passing in the current value of the lyric, which is actually the ID, which is actually get lyric. So we actually don't need to use this, unless if you wanted to, we could do something like this. which is kind of redundant. But if you wanted to change this function, you could. So we're going to do it like this for now, even though it's kind of redundant. You're going to get your results. And I'm going to just return the results. This is what they call encapsulation, I think. I can't remember. But so yeah, so great. So get current lyric. So now we have the lyric. Yeah, so that should be it actually. So we press start and it's saying add new lyric. Add new lyric. Yeah, so it's in the right thing, which is great. So now what we want to do is, this isn't ordered properly. Does it need to be? No. So what we want is a link, and this link says next href get next URL. Seven. So as you can see, we are halfway there, which is fantastic. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the same thing for back, and I guess then we could do some styling and see how that works. So let's create our function for back. So you're going back to our functions file. We're gonna copy everything here. And we're only going to change this. I believe we have to change this to ascending, but I myself, I'm not sure. Alright, so play works fine. Start. So after next, we need previous. We want to put it at the top and the bottom as well. Get previous URL. So you have one here, you want to put one here. You want to add some styling. And how do we do styling? Does anybody remember? With a border. So we have our border and solid. Then we have a border radius. Padding of 5. We don't need to add in any margins. I mean, we could. Let's do it for the fun of it. Let's put 20, so we have a lot of space. Yeah. That is us. That seems to be wrong though. Previous. No, previous is working. Alright, so let's make it a little bigger. Changing the font sizes is a good idea. I didn't add that in my example, so we're gonna also look at that. Right. So yep. So we can go through our lyrics. I was saying Right, so previous is not working. So that's probably because I did something stupid like this. It probably should be descending. Let's see, next. No, then I didn't want to talk about. Alright, so let's see what's going wrong here. My song ID is less than I'm not sure. Get previous lyric. So what I have is ascending for this, right? So most likely this is fine. I just need to look to see if I'm doing the right thing. So get previous URL, get previous URL, song and current. I'm not sure if I'm doing the right thing. So next is 8. but the next is 6. No matter what I do, the previous is 6, which could mean, do I change the current? The current changes. Yeah. Get previous URL. Get previous URL. So I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. So we're gonna test it and see. Because it really should be working. So let's test it and see. Song ID is 1 and ID is less than 6. 7. 6. Let's take it to 8. To be fair, this is correct. Well, still getting 6. So for instance, where song ID is equal to 1 and ID is less than 8. Order by priority. So this is how you do not troubleshoot a query by assuming what is wrong. Alright, so this works. I was ordering by priority. I don't think I'm using priority, so I am going to remove it from the. I'm just going to use ID instead. That is bad, right? So if you want to reorder it, you should really use priority. That makes things more complicated. Alright, so that should work. So the next should be still getting 6. Descending. Alright. So order is great. Why order is great? Because in the event that you want to, so this only works now based on the order that you added the songs in, which won't always happen. So in the event that you wanted to reorder the songs, you would need to add an order field or a priority field to give you that effect. However, I am not using that, but it's available. You can make the tutorial more advanced by adding those features. Alright, so yeah, this is great. So what we're going to do now is we need to add an end screen. So I'm just going to add that quickly. End is going to be similar to start. So I'm literally just going to copy and paste it. And back to songs is fine. Song complete. Song complete. Song complete. Completed. Alright, and in our functions, now on the case that results, let's say this is else, we need to do something else. What we're going to do, so if we have a count, we have a next ID. Otherwise, what we're going to do is we're going to take it, we're going to send it to get previous, we're going to send it to start. So that's at the start of the song, and in this case, we're going to send it to end. That's at the end of the song. So let's just do that. And so let's see if we could get that to work. So right now, if we go previous, we're back to where the song started. We keep going next until we finish with all the songs, and you say, whoops, song is completed, and you have to go back to start. If you want to, you can go back to start and you can continue. So this is great. I think I might stop here. So one final thing we need to add is font size. So I have deemed that important enough to continue. So we are going to do that now we're only going to do it in play, and we are not going to make it very complicated. So we're going to keep it very simple. We have a form. We have two buttons. One says increase font size, and the other says decrease font size. And that's it. Decrease font size. They're both of type submit. They're both posting. The names are increase. I think I could do this. Decrease, right? Method is post. I think this is wrong. We're gonna create this to font. So we have the same names, but the values is different. One says increase, the other says decrease. Let's just see how that looks. I don't like that. Reload the page. Maybe give it some space on top. Oh, more space, I guess. All right, and yeah. So what we're gonna do now? We're gonna increase and decrease the font size. So we know how to do the thing that we usually do. Do we? Do this. All right. And what we're looking for is something called font. And we say action is equal to font. And then what we're going to say is if action is equal to increase, we increase the font size. Else if action is equal to decrease, we decrease the font size. And now we're going to do some. We are going to set some cookies. Yum, 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 yum. Set font size. Pass any value of the font size we're going to set. We're going to see set cookie. Name of cookie is font size. Values file and time. Yeah, I have no idea what this is. In the sense that this just says the time, right? I don't know how much it is. I have to check to find out. But yeah, what we're doing here is setting a cookie. I know that. Yes, I know that. Alright. So here we set the cookie, and now we're gonna get the cookie function get font size. So fs we can get the value of the cookie. Otherwise, the default size is px. Return fs. So this should be good. So in play, we're just going to increase the size by 5. And if we're going to do that, we can't have px in it. Oh my, oh my, oh my. So you're gonna add one more section, get stored font size, and now we can get the actual get font size, and now we can return that. Great. if you're setting the actual, but we're not setting the actual value, we're just going to increase it by 5 or decrease it by 5. So get font size and set font size plus 5. That's literally what we're going to do. We're going to do it here as well, except we're going to minus it. And then, and the default font size should be 55. And then, in play, what we're going to say here is get the stored font size. Alright, so let's check that out. Decrease, 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 increase, 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 next. So we could decrease the font size. I believe it's been decreased, and we can increase it. One doesn't seem to increase it at all. Not sure what's going on there. But yeah. Maybe we could look into that. Decrease the font size. I don't know why it's doing that. So right now the font size is, I think I have the buttons wrong. One is increase and one is decrease. Anyway, so the font size is now at 55, even though it doesn't be able to show in it. The font size is now at 50. The font size is now at 50. Decrease 45. So it's probably not perfect. Something's off going on there. One second. So we're looking at the value of the cookie here. It's increasing as it should. So I'm not entirely sure what goes on with how it actually displays. Or maybe it was a catchiness to you. What's happening again? 40. 40. It could be a catchiness to you. Or something like that. But yeah. But it works. We know it works. We could figure out the minutia some other time. Alright, so yeah. This is it. So I'm started. You can start it over. Again, once you set the font size, it stays, right? So you don't have to worry about that. Yeah, it doesn't reload on the same. I see that. Once you reload the page, it doesn't show immediately. This is start. This is play. But that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. We're not going to go into that. But as you can see, we are working and we are good to go. Alright, I'm out.